Hello and welcome to my channel. Thanks for being here. If it's your first time, I extend to you a very warm welcome. Thanks for joining with me. This channel is all about the history of religion and spirituality, and today I'm going to be talking about the Essenes. Who were the Essenes, also known as the Sons of Light? Well, let me start with the Dead Sea Scrolls, because that's where we get most of our information about the Essenes. They were discovered on the northwest shore of the Dead Sea in a cave in the year 1947. That original cave is called Cave Number 1 at Qumran. In the 1950s, there were excavations of other caves in the area, and the Qumran community itself, the people who had hidden these scrolls in the caves. The archaeology showed that the inhabitants lived a communal lifestyle and took their meals together. We know that they were very concerned with ritual purity because of the large number of Jewish ritual baths called mikvaot that are in the community. Now, ritual purity isn't the same as being physically clean. It's not about health or hygiene or sanitation, but it seemed to be random commands by God to the Jewish priesthood and people about natural or things that they might come in contact with, natural acts or events that would make one impure. Examples would be childbirth or your menstrual period, different things that are in our world just considered natural would make you ritually impure. Now, the usual remedy was immersion in one of these cleansing pools of water. It had to be living water, in other words, running water, a stream or a river or a lake. And of course, there were none of those at Qumran, so they had built pools, but the pools were sourced by streams that were handmade, man-made canals or channels that took runoff floodwater and filled the pools. Now, one had to be ritually pure in order to enter the presence of God, and that presence was considered to be in the temple at Jerusalem. They weren't for everyday life, and they were not for Gentiles, because Gentiles were not allowed to enter the temple. The occupants of Qumran, however, believed that the presence of God was also with them, and so they had adapted the laws that applied to the Jerusalem priesthood to themselves. They may, in fact, have been an offshoot of the Zadokite priesthood, and that's a topic for another video. But the Zadokites were a family of priests that had ruled in the temple for quite some time, and with a reduction in power, divided into apparently three separate groups. One being the Sadducees, still found in the temple. Another, I believe, that had moved to Egypt, and the third being this community at Qumran. And most of what we know about this settlement does come from the writings of the Dead Sea Scrolls. These scrolls included all Jewish writings. There's nothing in them about Jesus or Christianity, and although some people are under the misconception that they do talk about Jesus and Christianity, they are 100% Jewish writings. They contain scripture, they contain all or fragments of, parts of all of the books of the Old Testament except Esther. They also contain the Apocrypha. Those are additional books that we find in Catholic writing, but not in Jewish or Protestant texts of the Bible. There is pseudepigrapha, including the writings of the books of Enoch, the Enochian writings, and the book of Jubilees. And there are other secular writings that describe the community itself, their beliefs and practices. Full-fledged members of the community were all males who had gone through a long period of probation and various degrees of membership. They had to be physically and psychologically considered perfect. There could be no defect, especially a physical defect. There could be nothing like lameness or any kind of disease, blindness, deafness. They were like the description of the animals brought into the temple, perfect. There were women and children in the community, but women were not members. They were there either by birth or by marriage to someone in the community. So this community, which strictly followed the laws of Moses, were exclusivist. They believed they were founded by a man called the Teacher of Righteousness and would be opposed by someone called the Wicked Priests. They were also apocalyptic in that they believed that God would be setting up his kingdom and replacing the world system very soon. They thought that this would happen as a result of a 40-year war, and they would be victorious in this war because they were the only chosen ones. Well, the writings or the lifestyle or the teachings of the Essenes may have influenced John the Baptist. There is no record of him being a member, and there is no mention of it in the New Testament writings about him. But John spent much time in the desert. He did baptize people in living water in the Jordan River. He was not doing the ritual baths. He believed that his baptism could take away sin, which is a difference. It wasn't just a ritual cleaning. His outfit that he wore, animal skins and leather belt, were very different. The Qumran community, they wore white linen. His diet was certainly different than theirs, but he did spend a lot of time in the desert, and there's no reason to think that he would not come across them and had communication with them. It's doubted that they influenced Jesus very much. First of all, they were very exclusive in who could belong and be followers of theirs, and Jesus was extremely inclusive. His idea was that all people should be God followers, and he actually healed the very diseases and disabilities that they rejected, things like blindness and deafness and leprosy and lameness and paralysis, all things they would have rejected. Those are the things that we see Jesus healing in the New Testament. And some people think this is an effort to show that all people will be made acceptable to the Lord. And One thing, though, that Jesus did have in common with the Essenes was an apocalyptic worldview. Jesus, as well as John and they, believed that this system, the earthly world as we know it, with all of its failings and evil, would be destroyed, and that God would be coming at any time to set up his kingdom. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you do, please, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, ask for notifications, so as soon as I post something, you'll know what the topic is, and if you're interested, you can check it out. I try to post weekly, and that is, of course, not written in stone, as I'm human and sometimes I miss a week, but I do try to. I also answer all questions if I'm able to, and so I love to see your comments and questions, and I may ask you a question back and ask you to comment and to express your ideas and your beliefs about religion and spirituality even further for those who read the comments. And so please don't hesitate to leave me comments, questions, suggestions for a group that you'd like to hear about. And between now and next time, I hope that you stay safe and well. I'll see you real soon.